live at Onigashima. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Anthony, and today we're doing chapter 1162, God Valley Battle Royale, One Piece, of course.
Of course, One Piece. Yeah. I didn't know it was One Piece. Thank you.
Yeah, we're finally. This is an insane chapter. I mean, of course, it's God Valley. Every chapter is going to be insane. We say that every time at this point. I feel like we're in one of those times where every single chapter there's just like something
banger after
cool
banger
and
after banger after banger.
Yeah, we're in that time of One Piece. There's no better time to be a fan. So like, comment, subscribe. And then follow along, if you like the stuff, and let's get right into it. So we start with the end of the cover story here. Thank God. I think I'm pretty done
I think
with
we're
it.
all done with this. We've been saying it for a while. Nothing really happened here. Wasn't that interesting. And I think the disappointing part is we were in Wano, and it felt like there was still more to explore in Wano because we kind of rushed the ending of it, and we didn't really get anything new. Like, we got a little bit of the ulti page 1 stuff, like, sure, right. I guess that's nice. The Moria stuff was cool to find out, but it was 40 chapters of really nothing, to be honest, so I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, there could have been so much more. Like, I feel like stuff with Zoro's lineage could have been cool, stuff with, like...
The poneglyph that we know that's there, Pluton is there.
Exactly, yeah. Like, we know that. Like, I would imagine, like, Blackbeard might go there at some point. So, like, I don't know. Maybe they'll weave that into the actual story instead of a cover story. Maybe it's, like, too important to, like, cover in a cover story. So, I'm glad we got what we got. I'm glad it's over. Let's move on. So, we're back here. We're getting all the battles. And I feel like these 1v1s, and they're not really all 1v1s, you know what I mean? Are, like... not the way we really expected this to play out. It starts here with like Rocks versus Garling. So like, you want to talk about that for a second?
I mean, that was pretty crazy. Like, we can just skip to the part where Rocks is like saving his wife, and I like that they're talking about like the Davy clan more, and she's like fully invested in the Davy clan. And I thought the most interesting part about that was actually her mentioning like, hey, we'll meet up on La Lucia. Because that was a big bombshell in this chapter, being like, okay, well, now we know why they destroyed La Lucia. It wasn't just that Sabo was there. Like, sure, maybe that was part of it, but we kind of speculated before, like, it seemed like they were ready to destroy it before he was there, and they kind of just pulled the trigger once he was there. So, that means all of La Lucia was filled with Davy clan members, or at least, like, not all, but parts of it. So...
yeah, I mean, it had to be. Like, we see a couple... So we see... This is, like, confirmed, like, Blackbeard's grandparents here, right? Like, that got Dami Reversi. I think this is kind of an interesting thing, too, where, like, the Dami Reversi has happened to these people before Imu even showed up. So Imu, we know, he shows up at, like, the end of the chapter, like, it seems like he is. And this, like, Dami Reversi thing is happening before he even showed up. So it's like, can Garling do that? Or, like, maybe because Gunko's here, Imu took over Gunko and did that. But, like, we don't... Like, all the strongest characters acknowledged, like, when Imu showed up, because there was that big hockey blast, right? So, like, I think it's weird that they wouldn't have acknowledged it before this happened. So, like, it leads me to believe that, I don't know, maybe Imu could use this power through just like any of the God's Knights without having to fully transform.
Which, I mean, it seems like he can, like, just take over anybody, right? Because before we saw him take over Gunko, now clearly he's taking over Saturn, and all these people got Dami Reversi'd before Saturn transformed. Like, we heard him just, like, talking casually. It's like, well, I guess not casually. He was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, if this continues, something really crazy is going to be unleashed. So... We know he can take over anybody kind of any time, it seems like, which is pretty scary for anyone else in the world. Like, he can basically be wherever he wants in the world by sending these people, and we know these people can get to different places using the teleportation rings. So it feels like no place is safe.
Yeah, at least any place like with the Holy Knights on it, you know what I mean? Like, so far it's been, it's not just like anybody, but yeah, I mean, the Imu is definitely like a scary thing in this chapter. Like, we just skip to the end and see like all these people that they're putting up against Imu. It's like, dude, we got Whitebeard, Kaido, and Rocks against Imu, which is nuts. But let's back up for a second, because I want to get back to let's talk about this whole Garling thing for just a second, because this guy got one shot like twice. with one hand.
Yeah, this guy's weak. Everyone's
He's
giving him
weak.
too much credit. Or were we
Dude,
not
I
giving
think-
Rox enough credit, even though everyone was saying he was like the strongest? But I think
No,
the
I think
interesting
people were giving
part,
him too much.
yeah, maybe. But one thing I thought was really interesting is like it's taking a while to regenerate because of how strong he is. Meaning,
Yeah.
like the stronger your HAKI is, or we assume it's based on HAKI, right? Like what else could it be?
Right.
But the stronger your HAKI is, like it's super hard to regenerate. Meaning, if Luffy's strong enough, can he outright kill these people? Like, at what point does the regeneration just stop completely?
Right, which is weird because, like, you know, I was thinking about this too. Like, the regeneration, like, clearly we're gonna have to get to a point where they're able to do so much damage that it just puts them down. Because that's usually how it goes with One Piece villains, anyways, right? They don't die; they just KO or whatever, and then the government comes and puts them in jail, or like, you know, he flies in outer space or whatever. But there's like, it's never that they kill these characters, even though they deserve
Except
to die.
Kaido.
Like Scott Gabon cut this guy. Yeah, Kaido, I guess, is the exception. He's like the one exception, but like truly, we don't really know if he's even dead. I imagine he is, but you know, like Scott Gabon cut Sommers in half, and like that guy regenerated. You know what I mean? Like it's still, but it's like clearly that did more damage, and it takes them like longer to regenerate, like you said. So like I wonder if there's a third tier of HAKI where it's like, okay, first tier of HAKI, like advanced armament, like might be able to like hurt them, but they regenerate like super duper fast, and like they don't, you know, it's like how it was.
It feels
on
like it doesn't
Egghead,
even
right?
hurt them, honestly, when stuff
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
happens.
It's like how Dorian Brogy cut Jupiter in half, and then he just like pop back up. You know what I mean? Like they did damage, but he's just like whatever. Then there's the second level where it's like Scott Gabon and like what Rox is doing here, where it like takes them a long time, and the stronger it is, the longer it takes. And then the third level would be like, okay, is there really a way to like kill these people? Because then it's like, how are they actually gonna get rid of Emu? Like for real.
I mean,
you know
the
what I
other
mean?
thing is, I feel like we've only seen these people be injured by like slashing attacks with this, which is like when Luffy doesn't really do any of that. I wonder how his HAKI punches are gonna affect people like this, because like, sure, you can regenerate from slashing, and that's a very, I mean, visually it's very obvious to see that. But
Yeah.
for like a punch, it's like maybe he breaks their bones, and then the bones need to regenerate or something. Like, I wonder how Oda's gonna portray that. We also know that there's some type of secret that Gabon was saying, because he was like, "Hey, about the regenerating, I got a secret to tell you so you can like do it yourself." But it's probably not Conqueror's HAKI, or not like the Conqueror's HAKI we know, at least, because that's not really a secret, and he kind of saw Luffy use that a little bit already when they had their little skirmish. So I wonder what he's gonna tell them exactly that's gonna help with this.
Yeah, it's weird because like Scopper really doesn't like encountered any of these guys yet either. So like I wonder how it's gonna play out. Like what if there's gonna be like a, you know, there's already so many top tiers against Emu, and the Holy Knights are clearly like just getting smacked everywhere. Like maybe there's more Holy Knights and they're gonna have to like do skirmishes with them, or maybe later on in Roger's story, we see more of a fleshed out, you know, what happens after God Valley, because you know, there's still so much between God Valley and like him finding the One Piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there could be another instance of them encountering people like this. And I fully expect that to happen.
You can't imagine it's just smooth sailing after this for Roger and the Roger Pirates, right? It can't be that easy. There must be some other event that happens, even though like this is the biggest and most well-known. Well, I guess not most well-known because they were wiped off the face of the earth, but most well-known to One Piece readers.
Yeah,
not in terms of the world.
I will say also that like this whole flashback is not making Roger look great. So I feel like Oda, not that he doesn't look like good and like strong or whatever, it's just like I think people like want, you know, what he was in the Odin flashback here, and he's like very different. Like he's younger, he's like more hot-headed and stuff like that, like not just, and clearly like not as strong. He probably is like pretty strong, you know, but I would imagine there's some more to go for him, and like it's gonna take Oda a second to get the readers to, you know, get Roger back on their side. But speaking of that, we also have to talk about Garp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted to talk
'Cause
about that also. I feel like
'cause-
Oda helped clear up a lot of stuff in this chapter. Where
yeah.
Garp was on fraud watch. Everyone was calling him a piece of shit. And I mean, we kind of said this too. It's like he might not know about this. Like he's still relatively young, and clearly he didn't. Like he might have known like some of the small things, and like Sengoku says like, oh, it was like a vague rumor, but we didn't know whether to believe it or not because like. You know, people talk shit all the time. People make accusations, but they didn't have any proof. But now that they're actually here seeing, like, all the civilians being killed, all the celestial dragons just not caring about everything, you can see he's, like, wrestling with this. He, like, morally, he's like, I don't know what to do. Which makes you then think, like, why did he end up staying in the Marines after this, then? It's probably something that's like, damn, I don't know what else to do. Like, I've still been helping people, but I refuse to do this. And this is probably the incident that we see that causes him to refuse to ever be an admiral, right? But why then does Sengoku do it? Like, that's what I feel like now I'm more suspicious of Sengoku than Garp.
Me too, dude. Yeah, no, and it's like, you know, who has the knowledge that this stuff is happening? Because there is a bunch of Marines on the island, and there's a bunch of, like, you know, like Dragon's platoon got killed because Dragon, like, defected or whatever, and so like they're trying to keep this hush hush even from other vice admirals and like another admiral, you know what I mean? Or unless Sengoku's just straight up lying or whatever, or he's just like, oh, you know, like that guy vanished, which means the Navy probably offed him for like having it in the report, you know what I mean?
But I don't think
so,
he's
like,
just lying because he's not like he's not the fleet admiral.
I don't think he would be lying. Yeah,
he's a vice admiral here, just like Garp. So I think he's just as confused. So I don't know.
Is he a vice admiral? I thought it was an admiral. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't think like they're totally in the clear. Like, obviously, this is Garp's like moral conundrum. Like, this is like the thing that makes him an interesting character is like him kind of debating back and forth like what is justice in his eyes. So this I don't think like I do want to know where he goes afterwards. I think we just kind of have to wait and see. I don't think it's fair to make a 100% like, you know, Garp piece of shit like thing yet. Like I feel like there's a couple more things that could be revealed as far as like Garp's character and like why he decides after this to stay in the Marines that we kind of have to just like keep our eye on. You know, it doesn't make the Ace stuff look any better, but it's still like, you know, I think we still have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, guys, there's so much crazy stuff in this chapter. We get a retelling of kind of what we knew from Kuma's flashback also. We get to see him and Ivankov finding the devil fruits, and Ivankov was so close to eating the dragon fruit. That would have been pretty cool.
Oh, that would have been
but I like how we see this part where, okay, we saw this. Big Mom takes it from him, but we kind of assume Big Mom maybe gave it to Kaido to save him, because she always says, like, in current story, like, hey, like, I did a favor for you, I saved you, remember, you owe me. But we can clearly see that he just beat the shit out of her and stole the fruit.
Yeah, he was like, I'm coming in hot, dude. He's like, give me that shit.
I love the face he makes. He's just so smug, and he's like,
it's just such a little shithead, dude. And she's like, fuck you.
It's like this 15-year-old kid also just doing this.
Yeah. It's like the son that like Big Mom didn't want, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we see how proud he is afterwards too when he meets up with Roger or with Whitebeard and Rocks, and he was like, "Guys, look at me! Look how awesome I am! I got a devil fruit."
Yeah, he's like a little kid, dude. It's really funny. I actually really like seeing the Big Mom Kaido dynamic because it gives a lot of context to like how we saw them before, like fighting, and like how much history they have. So. I don't know, like I love the Big Mom Kaido dynamic. I just think it's really
it feels
funny.
like a brother and sister rivalry, honestly.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like an older sister, like younger brother kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's also funny that, you know, like this could have been, Ivankov's fruit, but it could have been Katakuri's fruit.
Yeah, that's true. She says, "Hey, let me give this to Katakuri." Imagine Katakuri not with the donuts, but becoming a fucking dragon instead.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She should have known that fate in this world just like gives it to the people that, you know, that are most about. Like I feel like, what would Katakuri be without the mochi fruit in the theme of Whole Cake Island? You know what I mean? It'd have been really out of left field if a dragon showed up there. But
well, maybe she started doing the theme because she ended up giving a different fruit to Katakuri. Maybe she was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go with animal theme like Kaido is. Then she lost this
Yeah.
first. She's like, all right, it's pivot
She's like,
time.
damn
Let's
it.
do
It's like,
food.
damn. Well,
But
skipping over down a little further, like we did talk about it a little bit, but you know, Emu is here. Emu showed up, and Garling's pretty out. You know, Garling's. I think it's pretty much just all these strong guys against Saturn slash Emu. You know what I mean? So, and this is gonna be interesting. This is a crazy lineup of characters standing next to each other: Whitebeard, Rocks, and Kaido. And Kaido's just like, I just want to fight. Like, I just want to try this thing out. Whitebeard, you know, is this is a really interesting dynamic because like Whitebeard standing next to Rocks, whose son later betrays him, is like a very, you know, I think that's like a very interesting thing.
like, I also feel like all of this gives it makes Blackbeard himself a lot more interesting because we see Rocks, and Rocks overall is pretty admirable about all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's over here standing protecting his family. It's why Whitebeard actually respects him, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna fight with you. I saw you, like, how you were like saving like your wife and your son, and
Right.
I think we all deserve to be protected for family, right? And then Blackbeard's like the opposite. He doesn't create family. He backstabs everybody. He doesn't trust anyone. So I feel like there must have been also another event in Blackbeard's life that kind of changed his perspective on a lot of this stuff. Like, because we could see here, obviously he has a reason to hate celestial dragons and the government and the Marines, right? Like, this event clearly shows that. But why does he hate, like, the people who kind of helped and gave him everything? Like, why did he want the darkness fruit also? Like, what? I'm so curious about what his evil plan might be. Or maybe not so evil plan, but it just looks evil from our perspective.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like it feels evil. Like especially when you think back to when Whitebeard tells Teach, like, "Hey, like, Roger was not talking about you, or like you were not the one." You know, like he was saying, basically like that Teach is like a bad dude. But Whitebeard never like went after Teach. You know, after that whole thing happened. After he killed Thatch and all that. So you're right. Like maybe it could be just like this crazy twist of fate, but it does seem like they're not great guys. You know what I mean?
And one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say to pivot a little bit back to Emu. One of the things I thought was really interesting is kind of how he looks when he's merged with Saturn. So I don't know if you remember after Thriller Bark, we kind of saw these like random shadows in the background that were never really explained. And how he looks here really reminds me of that stuff. So I wonder if that's somehow connected, and maybe that's why Thriller Bark was kind of the way it was maybe it was like an area where Emu kind of controlled, and he like took ships from there to, and like like the world government would experiment on those pirates or whatever. And I don't know, maybe he just took a bunch of mountains, took a bunch of people, controlled them, and started looking like this. Because like when he takes over Gunko, he still looks like Gunko. When he takes over Saturn, like his body changes. He looks like, I don't even know, like some tall dude.
Well, I mean, he has the legs and stuff. It's just the head goes crazy. I mean, like Saturn's legs are still there and everything. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like I feel like, yeah, I didn't even think of the Thriller Bark stuff. Like I totally forgot about that, to be honest.
I think most people do. Like it kind of is just like a throwaway, but Oda doesn't have any throwaways in his story. There's always something. Throwaway.
Yeah, it's true that. Well, thinking back, my last point I would kind of want to make is where's Harold in all this? Like I feel like everything's coming to a head. All these top tiers are kind of getting all together. Rox is about to have his battle with Emu. Like, how does Harold factor into any of this, or did he just leave? You know, like
he might have just left. I mean, it's also weird because again, we've said it before. This is the Loki like flashback. He's telling us all this. How does he even know about this stuff if Harold's not here? Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like Harold had to have. I feel like if Harold doesn't show up, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, this is, oh my god, top tier flashback of all time. Like so hype, so many cool lore drop. But like if it doesn't tie back like relevantly to the story, I mean, this is relevant enough like with the Dom University, I guess, and everything. But like, it's just kind of not making sense to me still. You know, like I want Harold to be more involved, yes, but I'm still on the fucking, we sat Luffy down for 3 minutes and we're getting this full ass. Like this is nuts, dude.
Yeah, And I mean, we're probably gonna get like at least a few more chapters of God Valley
I would say
alone.
so.
Then we got to
Yeah.
cut back to whatever happens with Harold himself in the Dami Reversi. But I feel like
Right.
that's one of the big ideas of this flashback is literally that, seeing the Dami Reversi, seeing how it affects people, and maybe we hear about some kind of counter, or maybe not the exact counter, but some kind of indication that it's reversible also.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely like what we needed to. This is the part of the God Valley flashback that matters because this is Loki. Like as far as like relevant to the story right now in current timeline is because they need. This is like why Loki was like, okay, wait, sit down before you go up there. Let me tell you, I know all of this. This is how you beat Emu or whatever, or like this is like what we experienced. They're like giving him the information. So like
yeah.
this is the part that matters more so than all the other stuff. So you know. I'm excited to see kind of like like we said at the beginning, like regeneration, how that's dealt with and everything. I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, great chapter overall. One sad part, we do have a break next week. Thankfully, this is a planned one though. Oda's feeling a little bit better. The last one was a little bit of a surprise, but he's feeling better now. This is a normal break, and I think it'll still be good for him to rest up a bit. So
Yeah,
I'm not mad about this one, honestly.
not mad about it. Yeah, it gives us a little something to chew on. So we can drag Garling through the mud a little bit. Everybody hates that guy. I feel like there's some people that are still like, oh man, he's top tier, dude. He's top tier.
He's
But like,
fraud.
I don't know, fraud watch, dude. Fraud watch for Garling for sure. He needed that Gorosei buff.
Yeah, for real. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.